So the 8th instance of Mars retrograde in Cancer sticks to this pattern of haphazardness, hesitation, and unpreparedness, leading to a very troubling outcome, and in this case, a very tragic outcome. So this period contained the first World Trade Center bombing, which killed 6 people, it injured more than 1,000 people, and it racked up over $500 million in damage. So when you dig into the story of the World Trade Center bombing, which was plotted for at least a year beforehand, you discover an incredible amount of evidence that the FBI was at least partially to blame because they had the capacity to stop it, but for some reason chose not to. The FBI had an informant working for them to infiltrate terrorist cells operating in New York City. So this informant, one Ahmad A. Salem, told law enforcement officials 6 months prior about a potential attack on the World Trade Center, as well as other targets such as Grand Central Station and Times Square, and that he was planning to thwart the plotters by secretly substituting harmless powder for the explosives. So the plan was called off by an FBI supervisor who Salem credits as having messed up the entire operation. We know all of this information because Salem secretly recorded all of his calls and interactions with the FBI. So this major blunder by the FBI by not taking decisive action to stop the plot, while it had an informant on the inside willing to do so, is a damning condemnation of the inability to take decisive steps to defend the nation. So while the fatal decision to take Salem off the case happened while Mars was in Gemini, it was during the Mars in Cancer and Mars retrograde in Cancer when the FBI failed to do its job to properly investigate and to foil any kind of terrorist plot happening. In fact, a week prior to the explosion, the terrorist plotters that recruited Salem had met in Attica prison, and if the FBI had taken their informant Salem seriously and conducted a proper surveillance on the supposed terrorists, the people who would end up being the terrorists, they could have easily learned of the plot and prevented the bombing altogether. So Mars went retrograde on November 28th, 1992, and having transited through almost the entire sign of Cancer. So on February 26th, the day of the bombing, after Mars had gone direct and was still in the middle of Cancer, on that same day, there was a Uranus-Neptune conjunction exactly on the second house cusp of the United States, the cusp of finances and material resources. So this conjunction only takes place every 168 years, so it makes it a very rare occurrence. And so the metaphorically and literally explosive planet Uranus hit the heart of the United States financial infrastructure, one of the World Trade Center buildings, on that exact conjunction day while Mars retrograde and debilitated.